Everybody, I got some new revelations to some people. This is old news. It came out years ago and I've watched it develop. Most people think that Zion's injury prone and he ain't really all that good. Well, I seen his debut. I watched him in high school, and then I was eager to see his debut to be like, okay, what can this dunker do? This guy can dunk like no one else you've ever seen. What can he really do in the NBA? I didn't watch him at college, but I know he was good, and I followed it like a little bit, but I was just waiting for him to get to the NBA. Turn this sideways. So now the Pelicans are pretty much fed up with him and want to move on. And it seems really sudden because when he came into the league, as I was saying, watched his debut. He hit 4 threes in his debut. Let me say that again. He hit a 3. People went wild. Then he hit another 3. Then he hit another 3. And this is all in the crunch. At this point, his third 3 was in the crunch. Like in the clutch, I should say, in the fourth quarter, in the crunch. But no, crunch time, in the clutch. It was a tight ball game, and he's like third 3, boom, hit another 3. He has like 28 points at this point, 20-some points, right? Then he hits his fourth 3, and then since he was injury prone, quote unquote, and they were getting him in, he's put on a minutes restriction. And they take him out of the game, and I forget if they won or lost, but it was a close game to the end, and he was not happy that he came out of the game. So right there's one thing I forgot until I just started talking about it. They had him on a minutes restriction, I'm pretty sure. Now I want to say I'm 90% sure, but since I'm sure and I'm going on the record, watch it not be true, but I'm pretty sure he was on a minutes restriction. They took him out of that game despite them going bananas and almost beating it. It was against the Spurs, I'm pretty sure. I remember that. Yeah, dude. Anyways, the main topic of this video and why you clicked on this video is new information that not a lot of people are talking about, even though it's old news. He hasn't been happy with the Pelicans since day one. He never wanted to be in New Orleans, and maybe now some people will remember this. You know, there's people, but like it seems like there's a lot of new NBA fans because it's like all they want to say is he's injury prone, and what really has he done? What has he done? Like I said, he had a stellar debut, and then his rookie stats and his second year stats and his career stats too are all historic. Like he's like a Shaq type of player, Michael Jordan type of player. Like his stats are historical. Like some of his stat lines no one's ever did, and it was just him in history has ever did it. I think he averages 28 for his career, which is insane. But it's just like AD. AD wasn't hurt. He just sat out, remember? And then he forced his way to LA. And he sat out the rest of the season. And then the last game of the season, he wore that shirt. That's all, folks. Anyways, from day one, here it is. Well, this is a different link. This is 2021. He isn't happy with the Pelicans, and there's no easy solution. Remarkable second season, averaged 27 points on 60% from the field. And yeah, you can read the rest of that for yourself. But he was unhappy back then in 2021. This isn't the first thing I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you how on draft night, he was unhappy and he was making faces, and he quickly ran away from the camera, all of the different things that the Pelicans got the number 1 pick. He really wanted to go to New York. He was very unhappy that the Pelicans got the number 1 pick. And this is what I wanted to lead off the video with, and I was thinking, it's 2 minutes into the video, people probably clicked off. But since day one, Zion didn't want to be in New Orleans. He was mad that they got the number 1 pick, and I forgot until I was researching this video that he wanted to return to Duke. He was the clear-cut number 1, as people said. Is Victor Wembanyama the highest rated prospect since LeBron? Well, Zion has a name in that argument. He has a bid in that argument. Yeah, and that clear-cut number 1 almost went back to Duke, almost went back to college because he didn't want to play for a team that bad. Totally forgot. So he was mad when New York didn't get the pick. and he was mad that the Pelicans got the pick. And then here, I'll pull it up. And then here it is. Zion almost didn't enter the NBA draft, wanted to return to Duke. And it's 2020. This is after he was already drafted. I totally forgot that happened. I remember it happening back in the day. I was like, damn. And I already knew that he didn't like that the Pelicans got the number 1 pick. So then this came out, and I was like, dang, he really doesn't like the Pelicans. And you want to know why he doesn't like the Pelicans? I'm going to pull that up right now. Well, first of all, I just want to add another article to the evidence that Zion and his family doesn't like the Pelicans and they don't want to be a part of that organization. Here it is right here. 2021, Zion's family wants him out of New Orleans. And then there's more articles and stuff, but I want to get into why they don't like New Orleans. Okay, here's why they don't like New Orleans. Because Zion knows his worth. He knows his worth. He knows that he could go back to college and still make the NBA draft the next year. He knows that he has historical rookie numbers. He knows that he has historical career numbers. He knows all this. So he wants to maximize his potential. This was this season, 2023. Zion played from the beginning of the season, and he was leading the Pelicans to a number 1 seed. 3 months into the season, they were the number 1 seed. And even starting the season, they were like 11-2 when they first started. As you can see, Pelicans 14-8, 3rd place in December. At that time, Zion was playing, out of his mind, but he was coasting. You could tell he was coasting, just easily putting up 30 points and then literally coasting, seeing how good his team would be. Then he's like, I'm not really liking how much my team, like we have CJ McCollum, we got Brandon Ingram, we got all these pieces, Jonas Valanciunas, all these pieces. I forget the team, Devontae Graham, all these good pieces, Jose Alvarado. Let's see what we can do without me is what I'm thinking he was thinking, right? Because he already doesn't like the Pelicans, just like AD didn't like the Pelicans. So he wanted to see what the team could do without him, and he sits out with can't even remember what his injury was, but he sat out with injury, quote unquote, and they proceeded to drop to the bottom of the they went to the mid. They consistently dropped to the bottom of the standings without Zion. I don't think he was really injured. I think he chose to sit out, just like other players choose to sit out and then they blame it on injury as an excuse. Here's the proof right here. They were the number 1 seed. Then they went to the 3 seed in December. And then at the end of January, they were 26-24. They were the 4th seed. You can see them slowly going down. Everybody else is catching up. Then they were the 7th seed, 29-27. This is all without Zion after their 1 and 3 seed. He led them to the 1 and 3 seed. And then they're 12th, 10 to 20 games later. You can see every 10 to 20 games they're dropping 3 spots in the standings, and now they're at 12th. This is in February, March. This is a month after he led them to the 3 seed. They were the 4th seed. A month after that, they were the 7th seed. This is just him sitting for 4 weeks. Then a month after that, they were the 12th seed. So he's like, okay, I see, without me, this quote-unquote great team of, role players and secondary options, such as Brandon Ingram, all the people I listed, they're a 12th seed without me. So I'm going to maximize my potential. I'm not going to play my historical numbers on a team that would be the 12th seed without me. Now you throw all this in with the fact that he hasn't want to be there since day one. His family has advocated for him to leave since day one. It's just, and then now all of a sudden the Pelicans are willing to move on because he's injury prone. That's the narrative that most fans will run with. Like I got this guy commenting back, what has Zion really done? This is after we commented about it's not his injury history. He doesn't want to be there. And he's like, I don't understand why people like him, really, because he's injury prone. It's like, dude, he's sitting out on purpose, just like Kawhi Leonard. You're going to say you don't see why Kawhi Leonard's valuable? He's a 2-time finals MVP. Kawhi Leonard chooses to sit out. Now, recently, I'm not sure with his quad injury lingering from San Antonio. That is a totally different situation. I'm just comparing him to another great player who sits out on purpose. AD sits out on purpose. That he's lazy. That's totally different. Zion sits out on purpose. I'm not going to get injured. I'm not going to waste my talent on a 12th seed. 14th seed, I think they ended up finishing by the end of it. So now all of a sudden, the narrative is that he's injury prone. Pelicans are ready to move on, and he's not even worth a number 2 pick. He's a historically great player, and if he, was a Tim Duncan, just go out there and play no matter what, a good. I don't agree with his decision to sit because your team sucks. Just go out there and play your career. I'm not saying he's not injury prone. I'm just saying it's looking more so like this is the situation. He hates his team. He's not going to play for him, just like AD sat for them. He didn't play for them, and then he immediately got traded and started playing for the Lakers. So I think it's the same situation. He doesn't want to waste it on his mediocre franchise. But the narrative is he's a wash player. He's not that special, and he's injury prone. So the Pelicans are willing to trade them. That's simply not true, as I just pointed out in this video. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I backed it up with articles. I gave my reasoning from watching it transpire over the years. And this is coming from the guy who predicted the Miami Heat were going to make the finals. I predicted this in January. I've been a Heat fan, so I knew we were going to make the finals. We made the finals almost every single year since 2020. 2021 was a month. I think the Heat had 3 weeks off for the offseason from the bubble. So they took that season to get healthy. Then 2022, they should have been in the finals, but I made a video on that. It was clearly, I won't spoil it. Just go on my channel and look for the coverage of that situation. So they should have made the finals in 2022, and then 2023 they're in the finals. They're perennial finalists. It's not shocking that they made the finals. I was able to predict that. And I'm backing it up with, like I said, articles. This ain't speculation. This is logical. It's just not someone holding my hand telling me this is what's going on. I'm seeing it for myself. And as I said, I'm able to predict the 8th seed I predicted them to beat the Bucks in 5. I predicted for them to beat the Knicks in 6. It only made sense that we were going to go one more game. It only made sense to me because it's the second round and a variety of other reasons. I want to cut this video off. It's getting too long. And then I knew we were going to sweep I didn't know we were going to sweep the Boston Celtics, but I knew we were going to beat them because they had trouble with Philly. They looked not themselves. They looked not having the best chemistry. They just looked, the word is slipping my mind right now. Dysfunctional. They looked dysfunctional. They looked like they were easily going to, we had a more coherent team with more chemistry. We were dominating in the playoffs. Philly gave them a run for their money. Yeah, it was 7 games. We did the Bucks in 5. I knew, and we did Philly in 6 games in the 2022 playoffs. So I knew if Boston was being dysfunctional, they just barely beat the Sixers. I knew we had a really good chance against them. We beat them before, and we should have beat them 2 times in a row, or go 2-0 over in 2022. But like I said, that's another video. That's a whole another story. So yeah, I easily predicted that. And that's just to say that I know what the heck I'm talking about. Trying to tell y'all, Zion is that dude. And the Pelicans would be dumb to trade him, but I don't think they really have an option. Zion doesn't want to be there, and he'll eventually leave on his own. So you might as well trade him. Might as well rebuild the whole roster. Try to pull out OKC and get a bunch of picks for your young guys. I don't know how they're gonna luck themselves into that situation, but get a bunch of picks for your vets like CJ McCollum and Ingram and all these guys, and try to flip it and start rebuilding properly. Get a good player out of the draft. It's funny that the Hornets went and take Zion for the number 2 pick That's just really dumb to me. I mean, to pair LaMelo, he's such a great passer with inside presence like Zion. That would be tough. But it would be tough to build around that because they don't have role players established, and they would be committing money to two max guys. So it'd be very tough to build. So that's probably why they don't want to do it. But yeah, there's my 2 cents on that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like if you like this video and insight and you learned something. Leave a like otherwise because I said so. See ya.